All rise.
All rise, all rise, all right. Hello and welcome.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Where they at? Where they at? Hey, all rise. That's right, Jay. Tita, gracias.
Good evening. This is the time set for the 11 p.m. calendar on January 20th, 2025. The court's orders for the taking of DNA and fingerprints that were given on the first calendar of this month shall apply to all matters on this calendar. I'll call you each up to the podium one at a time, and I'll provide a second name to sit in the chair right outside of this room. If we can start with Ms. Graff to the podium and Mr. Smith Francis to the chair.
What do you guys think they're here for?
Good evening, ma'am. Can I get your name and date of birth?
Karina Groff, 7/22/1993.
Thank you, ma'am. And it does look like we have two cases on the calendar here today. The first one comes in with some new charges out of the Superior Court. It includes one count of theft means of transportation, a Class 3 felony, one count of dangerous drug possession, a Class 4 felony, and one count of drug paraphernalia possession, a Class 6 felony. Probable cause has been found, and I am going to appoint an attorney to represent you. You're going to have a couple hearings in the downtown Superior Courthouse. You're going to start with a status conference on January 24th at 8:30, an evidentiary hearing on January 27th at 1:30 in the afternoon, and a preliminary hearing on January 29th at 8:30. It looks like you also have a failure to appear warrant that was issued for you. I'm going to affirm the previous attorney that was appointed to represent you in that case, and you're going to have the same status conference date and preliminary hearing date for that case as well. Because you were out on felony release at the time you were picked up for these new charges, you're not eligible for bond tonight. So you will remain in custody on the new charges. The time set to determine whether or not the court is going to set bond on this case is January 27th at 1:30 in the afternoon. On your failure to appear case, you do have a secured appearance bond in that case of $500. However, I wouldn't recommend posting it until you know if they're going to set bond on your new charges, because you're going to be held in custody on those new charges until at least January 27th.
She ain't going
Did you have any questions? Okay. If you'll step to your left, they'll give you your paperwork, okay?
Hey, thank you for that hat, Jessica. I'd appreciate that.
Mr. Smith to the podium and Miss Murillo to the chair. Good evening, sir. Can I get your name and date of birth?
Trevon Smith Francois, December 11th, 1991.
Thank you, sir. And it does look like we're here on some new charges coming out of the Peoria Municipal Court. We have one count of criminal damage, a Class 1 misdemeanor, and one count of disorderly conduct, a Class 1 misdemeanor. Probable cause has been found, and I am going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your hearing is going to take place in the Peoria Municipal Court, and it's an arraignment hearing on January 23rd at 9 a.m. In this case, you do have a secured appearance bond of $500. If you do post that bond, you have written conditions of release. It does include not returning to the scene of the alleged crime, no contact with any alleged victims or witnesses. If an order of protection is issued, you must comply with all terms of that. If you do live at the location of the incident or with any of the alleged victims, you do need to find a temporary residence. If you have any personal belongings you need to collect, you can contact the police department for one civil standby. Did you have any questions, sir?
No, thank you.
Okay, just up to your left, they'll give you your paperwork.
This is Maricopa County,
Ms. Murillo to the podium.
Arizona.
And Mr. Robinson to the chair.
She's a fast one. What do you think she's in here for?
Good evening, ma'am. Can I get your name and date of birth?
Vanessa Guayamurillo, February 26, 2000.
Thank you, ma'am. And it does look like you're here on a probation violation warrant. They've alleged you violated terms 3 and 5 of your probation. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you and set a probation revocation hearing on January 27th at 8:30 a.m. You have a secured appearance bond of $100. If you post that bond, you have written conditions of release, and it does include contacting your probation officer within 72 hours. Dates, times, and location for that hearing will be listed in your paperwork. Did you have any questions? Okay, just step to your left, they'll give you your paperwork.
$100? $100,
Mr.
man.
Robinson to the podium and Mr. Elmore to the chair.
Next
Good evening,
up.
sir. Can I get your name and date of birth?
Devontae Robinson, 08/17/1999.
Thank you, sir. And it does look like we're here on a direct complaint that was filed, and it's for an offense date of July 6, 2024. And it does look like it includes 2 counts of aggravated DUI, a Class 4 felony. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you and give you a couple of hearings. You're going to have a status conference on February 4th at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing on February 6th at 8:30. I am going to release you today on your own recognizance. That's your promise to appear at those hearings. Your paperwork will include written conditions of release along with the dates, times, and location for those hearings. Did you have any questions?
No, that's all I needed. You helped me, because now I can provide a place for my family to stay. Because without me, probably would have been homeless.
Okay.
So.
I'm glad that's going to work out for you. Just make sure you attend those hearings. If you don't, they'll issue a failure to appear warrant, and then they'll likely hold you on bond. So just make sure you go. You'll meet with your counsel and move forward with this case, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, sir. If you step to your left, they'll give you your paperwork.
Hey, Tech 5, that's what I was
Mr. Elmore
thinking.
to the podium and Mr. Barehand to the chair.
I don't know what he said. I'm lost on that one. We're going to stroll
Good
in
evening. Can I
kind of
get your name
hard.
and date of birth?
Adam Lee Elmore, 125/8/1984.
Thank you, sir. And it does look like you're here on a direct complaint. And it looks like it's for an offense date of August 21st, 2021. And it includes 1 count of possession or use of a dangerous drug, a Class 4 felony, and 1 count of possession or use of drug paraphernalia, a Class 6 felony. I am going to appoint an attorney to represent you and give you some hearings. But first, are you here on anything else?
Yeah, I got a hold on me from Scottsdale and a hold on me from Avondale.
Damn, he's been busy.
Okay.
He's been a busy
So
man.
what? When is Phoenix court?
Probably at 10 a.m.
Oh, so I ain't going nowhere.
You ain't going
If you
nowhere.
have holds, then you'll have to be seen by those.
Yeah. They already let me know about that, but I'm talking about for Phoenix. I'm staying here for Phoenix too.
Yeah, it's right next door. So you'll stay here until at least 10 a.m.
Hey, man, thank you.
Oh, never mind. Go ahead.
I'm going to give you some hearings in the downtown Superior Courthouse. You have a status conference February 4th at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing on February 6th at 8:30. In this case, I'm going to release you on your own recognizance. That's your promise to appear at those hearings.
Yes, ma'am.
You'll have written conditions of release. Dates, times, and location for those hearings will be in your paperwork. As you now know, you'll have to wait here till 10 for the Phoenix hearings. If a bond is set on those, you'll have to post that. But for this case only, I am releasing you on your own recognizance.
All right. Thank you.
Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. If you step to your
Hey,
left, I'll give you
Adam
the
B
floor.
said
Mr.
he's-
Barehand to the podium.
He's playing jail bingo. That's hell yeah. That's what he's playing. He got 3 already. To get bingo, what is it? 5 across? So he's almost there.
Good evening. Can I get your name and date of birth?
Anthony Barehand, 7/19/1990.
Thank you, sir. And it does look like we have 2 cases on the calendar. The first one comes in with some new charges out of the Superior Court. We have 1 count of marijuana possession, a Class 6 felony, 1
Smoking
count of
that
criminal
reefer.
damage, a Class 1 misdemeanor, and 1 count of shoplifting, a Class 1 misdemeanor. Probable cause has been found, and I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. I'm going to give you some hearings in the downtown Superior Courthouse. You'll have a status conference February 4th at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing February 6th at 8:30. I am releasing you today on your own recognizance. That's your promise to appear at those hearings. You'll have written conditions of release, and then you'll have to attend those hearings, which the dates, times, and locations will be included in your paperwork. You're also here on a warrant coming out of the El Centro Justice Court. Due to the nature of those charges, you're not entitled to court-appointed counsel. It looks like it relates to driving with a suspended license. I am going to give you a hearing in the El Centro Justice Court for an arraignment hearing on February 6th at 8:30. That is the same date and time as one of your other hearings in the Superior Court. So once you're released from custody, you need to make sure that you either let your counsel know at your next hearing on February 4th about the conflict, or you need to call the El Centro Justice Court once you're released and let them know that you have a hearing in Superior Court and ask them to move that. Your paperwork is going to include their phone number, as well as their location. But again, you can't be in 2 places at once. I can't change those hearings, so make sure you let one of the courts know that you need that moved prior to that. If you don't, you'll get a failure to appear warrant on whichever case you choose not to appear at. I am releasing you on your own recognizance in this case as well. Again, that's your promise to appear, so please make sure that you follow up with one of the courts to move one of those dates, okay? Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, just step to your left, they'll give you your paperwork.
Thank you.
Hey, Starlight, gracias. Highly
Richard
appreciate that.
Liddy, case number 1 and 2 will proceed as a house call due to him being unable to function. Date of birth, October 21st, 1959. The first case on the calendar is a new Superior Court case, and it includes 1 count of dangerous drug possession, a Class 4 felony, 2 counts of narcotic drug possession, a Class 4 felony, and 1 count of drug paraphernalia possession, a Class 6 felony. Probable cause has been found, and I am appointing an attorney in this case. I'm setting a status conference on January 27th at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing on January 29th at 8:30. I'm setting a secured appearance bond of $50 in this case.
$50.
There's a second case on the calendar, and it's a probation violation warrant. I'm appointing counsel in this case as well and setting a probation revocation hearing on January 27th at 8:30. On this case, the judge is holding him non-bondable. I am going to affirm that. If anything changes after I meet with him, I will update the written record. We will now stand in recess until the 5 a.m. calendar.
Ah, man, it was a fast one today. Damn, man. All right. Hey, so if you haven't done so, please do so. Hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to that 15,000 subscriber mark. Hey, Austin, thank you. I highly appreciate you subscribing. With you can make a difference. Anyhow, I do have an alternate account. If you want to subscribe to the alternate account, it's also, I've been posting on the chat. It's at CollectCallFrom _YT. That'll definitely help me out just in case this account ever goes down or, they pull the rug under me. Then I have that account to go live. Unfortunately, I just opened it up like 2-3 days ago. I only have, I think like 30 or 40 subscribers, trying to get to that 1,000. So like that, I could go ahead and enable it and go live, and you guys could help me out with that. From the looks of it, you guys do seem to enjoy these hearings and whatnot. They're live. I just followed. Hey, thank you, Nez. Highly appreciated. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Teamwork makes the dream work. And for those of you that are not familiar, we also have a stream over on YouTube where I archive all these streams. So if you want to go back and play them back, jump on YouTube and you can play everything back. Today, man, I've been on a roll. I think, I probably did like 6 or 7 different hearings today. What was it again? The second account or the YouTube account? If you're talking about the YouTube account, it's you just type in, if you look up right here, it's at CollectCallFrom. If you want the second account, I'll type it in right now. I'll type in second on the thing, and there it is, CollectCallFrom on YouTube. You can just click on it there and follow it, and I got 61 followers so far. So trying to build up that account a little bit, just in case, like I said, as a backup. Just in case I got hit, I get hit by the hey, thank you. I highly appreciate that. 033. I believe that's Italian flag. Or I think. I don't know. My eyes ain't very good looking, but highly appreciated. Anyhow, I'll be back. I'm gonna cut the stream now, but I'll be back in the morning, California time. I'll be on at 6 a.m. I'm gonna start off with a border patrol hearing in Connecticut. If you like those hearings. No, that's a Mexican flag. Oh, okay. I couldn't see the little águila. Despensa. But I do appreciate all of you guys. So tomorrow it'll be nonstop parole board hearings. And with that being said, I am Collect Call James. You guys are watching. You have a Collect Call From. And like I said around here, it lights like a candle. Once you blow it out, it's lights out. And with that, we are out. Rato, and you guys have a good one, and hopefully you guys will be dreaming about court cases and parole board hearings. All right, I'm out. Deuces. Adam, have a good night. All right, thank you, and Maribel, gracias. Let me see here. I'm gonna put the stream. And here we go. Let me see here.
Seated. Good morning. This is the time set for the 5 a.m. calendar on January 21st, 2025. The court's orders for the taking of DNA and fingerprints that were given on the first calendar of this month shall apply to all matters on this calendar. I will call you each one at a time to the podium, and I'll provide a second name to sit in the chair right outside of this room. If we can have Mr. Smith to the podium and Mr. Van Landingham to the chair. Good morning, sir. Can I get your name and date of birth?
Amari Smith, 03/28/97. And good morning, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. And it does look like we're here on a new Superior Court case.
Yes, ma'am.
And it does include 1 count of dangerous drug possession, a
Yes,
Class
ma'am.
4 felony, 1 count of drug paraphernalia possession, a Class 6 felony, and 1 count of driving with a license that was suspended, revoked, or canceled, a Class 1 misdemeanor. Probable cause has been found, and I am going to appoint an attorney to represent you.
Yes,
I'm going to give you some hearings in the downtown Superior Courthouse. You have a status conference January 27th at 8:30, an evidentiary hearing on January 28th at 1:30, and a preliminary hearing on January 30th at 8:30. It looks like you have 2 outstanding felony cases right now, and because you were out on felony release at the time you were picked up for these charges, you are being held non-bondable tonight.
Oh, what?
You'll be held non-bondable, meaning you won't be released from custody.
I'm saying, like, what am I being held for?
So the charges were the 1 count of dangerous drug possession, Class 4 felony, 1 count of drug paraphernalia possession, a Class 6 felony, and 1 count of driving with a license that was suspended or revoked.
But what am I being held for? That's what I'm
Those are the charges, and so you're being held because you were picked up on these new charges. And because you were already being charged with felonies in 2 other cases,
Yes.
and you were already seen by this court on those cases, when you're out on felony release while those cases are pending, if you pick up any new charges, you're automatically held without bond. The hearing that's set on January 28th at 1:30 is the time set for you and your attorney to present evidence to the court to determine whether or not bond will be set on this case. But you won't be released until at least that hearing on January 28th. Did you have any questions?
So how many days I got until then? I need to let my
Today is the 21st, so it's a week from today.
All right.
Okay, thank you, sir. If you step to your left, they'll give you your paperwork. Mr. Van Landingham to the podium and Mr. White to the chair. Good morning, sir. Can I get your name and date of birth?
Ben Van Landingham, 5282.
Thank you. And do we have the state on the line?
Yes, Your Honor, the state is on the line. Good morning, Ashley Stetson on behalf of the state.
Thank you, ma'am. And it looks like we're here on 1 case on the calendar. It's a new Superior Court case. And it includes 1 count of aggravated assault on an adult from an adult onto a minor, a Class 6 felony, 1 count of assault, a Class 1 misdemeanor, 1 count of criminal damage, a Class 1 misdemeanor, and 1 count of disorderly conduct, a Class 1 misdemeanor. Probable cause has been found, and I am going to appoint an attorney to represent you. You're going to have a status conference on January 27th at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing on January 30th at 8:30. And now, Ms. Stetson, did you want to go ahead and put the state's recommendation as it relates to release conditions?
Yes, Your Honor. The state did recommend bail be set at the amount of $50,000, and the state believes it has valid concerns for the suspect being released back to the home or just released without bond in general, Your Honor. As Your Honor may have noted in the Form 4, there were allegations that the suspect attempted to strangle one of the victims. However, the victim indicated that she could breathe the entire time, and that's why the aggravated assault impeding breathing was not charged. The officer in the Form 4 did indicate that the suspect was on probation in a previous strangulation case, Your Honor. The state did pull that up, and it does look like there was an order of discharge from probation back in December of 2024. However, Your Honor, the state did note in the discharge from probation order that there was reference to a Gilbert municipal charge or court matter. So the state did look up that matter, it does look like a date of violation for that was November 5th, 2022. The suspect was charged with assault misdemeanor, disorderly conduct misdemeanor, and interfering with judicial proceedings misdemeanor. The suspect did plead to the interfering with judicial proceedings matter, and the assault and disorderly conduct were dismissed. Those were DV charges as well, Your Honor. Then the state also looked further into the original strangulation charge that the probation came from. Your Honor, in that case, that was a Peoria matter. There were also indications that the suspect in that case threw the victim onto the ground, onto the bed, and put his arm around her neck, and she could not breathe. Then, additionally, Your Honor, the state also found a second aggravated assault impeding breathing charge. Well, he was booked and arrested on the matter. However, the state did decline to file on that charge. In those charges, Your Honor, the suspect was alleged to have pushed the victim's head into a corner joint, pushed her to the ground, struck her head, and used a single hand choking around her neck. And it does appear that that there was the victim did say her hearing faded, her vision went blank, she was dizzy, she did urinate her pants, and had a hard time breathing. So at this point, Your Honor, there have been one conviction for aggravated assault impeding breathing. There was a second arrest for aggravated assault impeding breathing that was not charged. He did pick up DV charges in Gilbert, misdemeanor charges, and now he's back here roughly a little over a month from the time that his probation was terminated. He was discharged from probation on a new aggravated assault adult on minor charge, as well as facts that indicate that if not for the other victim being able to breathe, there could have been a second, or I guess a third, aggravated assault strangulation. So the state is asking for bond to be set in the amount of $50,000. Your Honor, the state believes that this is an appropriate bond for someone of with his criminal history and same or similars, Your Honor. It does also indicate in the order of discharge from probation that the suspect did complete 26 sessions of domestic violence treatment, and he also did attend several relapse prevention counseling sessions. Your Honor, despite those counseling sessions, despite the domestic violence sessions, the suspect is back here a month after he being discharged from probation in an aggravated assault impeding breathing. Your Honor, the state did outline what conditions the state is requesting in the written recommendation. The state would ask that those be included. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Stetson. So the court has considered the 15 factors that we are required to consider when setting a bond. The court is setting a secured appearance bond of $25,000. If you do post that bond, you'll be released to pretrial services, and you will be equipped with electronic monitoring. In addition to that, you are not to return to the scene of the crime. You're not to have any contact with any alleged victims, witnesses, or complainants. If an order of protection or an order against harassment is taken out, you must obey the terms of that. If you do reside with any of the alleged victims or witnesses, then you will have to find a temporary residence. You can contact the police department for one civil standby to collect any personal belongings. Did you have any questions, sir? Okay, if you'll step to your left, they'll give you your paperwork. And Ms. Stetson, did you intend on appearing on any other cases this morning?
I did not, Your Honor, but the state is happy to stick around if Your Honor wants me to appear on anything else.
I don't have anything I need you to appear on, so you're free to disconnect if you would like. Thank you so much, Ms.
Okay, thank you,
Stetson.
Your Honor.
All right, looks like we got Mr. White at the podium. If we can get Ms. Barrios to the chair. Good morning, sir. Can I get your name and date of birth?
Aaron Luther White, 12/1/94.
Thank you, sir. And it does look like we have 3 cases on the calendar here this morning. The first one is a grand jury warrant that was issued for you, and it looks like it includes 9 counts of organized retail theft, a Class 4 felony, ranging from dates of June 25th, 2024 to July 15th, 2024. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you in this matter and give you a status conference on January 27th and a preliminary hearing on January 30th. Those are both at 8:30 a.m. I am affirming the secured appearance bond in this case, which is $5,000. Looks like you have a second grand jury warrant on this case, or on the calendar this morning, and it is another organized retail theft for an offense date of May 23rd, 2024. And in that case, I'm going to appoint an attorney as well and set an arraignment hearing on January 29th at 8:30 a.m. And I'm affirming the secured appearance bond in that case as well, which is $5,000. The third case on the calendar is a Goodyear Municipal Court case, and that relates to a shoplifting charge. I'm going to appoint counsel in that case as well and set an arraignment hearing in the Goodyear Municipal Court on January 29th at 8:30 a.m. In that case, you have a secured appearance bond of $50. So you have a total bond of $10,500. It is a secured appearance bond, meaning you can use a bail bonding company. If you do bond out, you have written conditions of release you need to comply with. 2 of your hearings are on the same date and time at 2 different locations. I can't change that here right now. So if you are released from custody, you need to make sure you call one of the courts and let them know. I've included the Goodyear Municipal Court phone number in there for you so you can let them know that you have a hearing in the Superior Court at the same time. They'll likely bump that hearing for you. Did you have any questions?
No.
Okay, if you'll step to your left, they'll give you your paperwork, so thank you. Ms. Barrios to the podium and Mr. Joseph Bersaja to the chair. Good morning, ma'am. Can I get your name and date of birth?
Corey Ann Barrios, 12/17/78.
What's your first name?
Corey.
And your middle name is?
Ann.
Ann. Okay. I have it reversed on here. So I'm just taking a look at it. They list your... Okay. And is it C-O-R-I?
Correct.
All right. So it does look like we're here on a new Superior Court case. It does include 1 count of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, a Class 2 felony, 1 count of endangerment, a Class 6 felony, and 1 count of disorderly conduct, a Class 1 misdemeanor. Probable cause has been found, and I am going to appoint an attorney to represent you. You're going to have a status conference on January 27th at 8:30 in the downtown Superior Courthouse. And then you'll have a preliminary hearing on January 30th at 8:30 in the morning. I'm setting a secured appearance bond of $5,000. That does mean you can use a bail bonding company. If you do post that bond, you have written conditions of release that will be included in your paperwork. You'll need to ensure you attend those hearings in order to avoid a failure to appear warrant. Dates, times, and locations will be listed in your paperwork. Did you have any questions? Okay, if you'll step to your left, they'll give you your paperwork. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Bersaja to the podium and Mr. Sturdivant to the chair. Good morning. Can I get your name and date of birth?
Joseph Simon Bergera, 12088.
Thank you, sir. And it does look like we have 2 cases on the calendar. And it looks like they are probation violation warrants. They've alleged you violated terms 6, 11, 12, and 21 in your first case. In the second case, they alleged you violated 6, 11, 12, 15, and 21. I'm going to appoint counsel in both cases and give you a probation revocation hearing on January 28th at 8:30 a.m. In each of your cases, you have an $1,800 secured appearance bond for a total of $3,600. If you do post that bond, you'll have written conditions of release, and it will include contacting your probation officer within 72 hours. Did you have any questions?
No.
Okay, just step to your left. They'll give you your paperwork. Thank you, sir. Mr. Sturdivant to the podium and Mr. Richardson to the chair. Good morning. Can I get your name and date of birth?
John Sturdivant, February 7th, 1989.
Thank you, sir. And it does look like we have 3 cases on the calendar, and it looks like they're all probation violation warrants. They all allege that you violated terms 3 and 5 of your probation. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you and set a probation revocation hearing on January 28th at 8:30. That does apply to all 3 of your cases. I'm affirming the bonds, which are 2 of them have a $750 bond and 1 has a $1,000 bond. So between the 3 cases, you have a total secured appearance bond of $2,500. If you post that bond, you have written conditions of release, and it does include contacting your probation officer. Did you have any questions? Okay, if you step to your left, they'll give you your paperwork, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Richardson to the podium and Ms. Davis to the chair. Good morning, sir. Can I get your name and date of birth?
Jacob Richardson, December 25th, 1982.
Thank you, sir. And it does look like we've got 6 cases on the calendar, and it looks like they're all probation violation warrants. In each of those cases, they've alleged you violated terms 3, 5, and 7 of your probation. I'm going to appoint counsel to represent you in these cases, and I'm going to set a probation revocation hearing on January 28th at 8:30 in the morning. In your first case, you have a $250 secured appearance bond. You have the same bond of $250 in your second case. In your third case, it's a secured appearance bond of $150. Your fourth case is also $150. Your fifth case is another bond of $250. And in your sixth case, it is another $250. So that's a total of $1,300 between your 6 cases. If you do post that bond, you have written conditions of release. It does include contacting your probation officer within 72 hours and attending that hearing on January 28th. Did you have any questions?
No.
Okay, if you'll step to your left, they'll give you your paperwork, sir. Ms. Davis to the podium and Mr. Shinek to the chair. Good morning.
Hi.
Could I get your name and date of birth?
Gina Davis, 7/1968.
Thank you, ma'am. And it does look like we have 3 cases on the calendar here. The first one comes in with a new Superior Court case, and it's 1 count of criminal trespass in the first degree, a Class 6 felony. Probable cause has been found, and I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. You're going to have a status conference on January 27th at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing on January 30th at 8:30. You have a secured appearance bond of $50 in this case. It looks like you also have 2 probation violation warrants, and they've alleged you violated terms 3 and 5 of your probation. I'm going to appoint an attorney in that case as well and set a probation revocation hearing on January 28th at 8:30. In each of those cases, you have a secured appearance bond of $250. So for all 3 cases, it's a secured appearance bond of $550. If you post that bond, you have written conditions of release you need to comply with, and then you need to attend the 3 hearing dates that I gave you. Those dates, times, and locations will be in your paperwork. Did you have any questions?
No.
Okay, if you'll step to your left, they'll give you your paperwork. Mr. Schneck to the podium and Mr. Wade to the chair. Good morning, sir. Could I get your name and date of birth?
Aaron Schenk, 32582.
Thank you, sir. And it does look like you're here on a probation violation warrant. They've alleged you violated terms 3 and 5 of your probation. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you and set a probation revocation hearing. That'll take place on January 28th at 8:30. You have a secured appearance bond of $500 in this case. If you post that bond, you have written conditions of release, and it does include contacting your probation officer within 72 hours. Did you have any questions?
I was arrested for no reason. So I was kind of wondering why they were able to just randomly see me and I was doing nothing, and they just arrested me, put handcuffs on me, and I didn't do anything wrong to be arrested in the first place.
It looks like you were arrested because they were aware of your outstanding warrant. Any other questions, sir?
No.
Okay, if you'll step to your left, thank you. Mr. Wade to the podium, and Mr. McKernan to the chair. Good morning.
Hello.
Can I get your name and date of birth?
My name's Jimmy Wade, 12/28/1991.
Thank you, sir. And it does look like we have two cases on the calendar. The first case is a new Superior Court case, and it does include one count of dangerous drug possession, a Class 4 felony, one count of narcotic drug possession, a Class 4 felony, and one count of drug paraphernalia possession, a Class 6 felony. It looks like you are also on probation. And so when you were picked up for these new charges, that is a Term 1 violation of the probation that you're on. I'm going to appoint counsel in both cases. I'm going to give you a couple of hearings. Your first one's going to be a status conference on February 5th at 8:30 a.m. and a preliminary hearing on February 7th at 8:30 a.m. Those hearings apply to your new charges. Then you'll have a probation revocation hearing on January 28th, 2025 at 8:30 a.m. I am going to release you today on your own recognizance. That's your promise to appear at those hearings. You're going to have written conditions of release you're going to need to comply with, and it does include contacting your probation officer within 72 hours. Did you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, if you'll step to your left and take a seat outside, I'm going to reprint your paperwork. They'll get that to you in just a moment, okay?
Thank you.
We have Grant to the podium. Good morning, sir. Can I get your name and date of birth?
Sure. Grant Matthew McKernan, 9/9/1969.
Thank you. And it does look like we have a new Superior Court case this morning, and it's one count of criminal trespass in the first degree, a Class 6 felony. Okay. Probable cause has been found, and I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. You're going to have a status conference on February 5th at 8:30, okay, and a preliminary hearing on February 7th at 8:30. I'm releasing you today to pretrial services. Your paperwork is going to include some written conditions of release, dates, times, and location for those hearings, as well as an envelope. Please read the instructions in the envelope and contact pretrial services once you've been released. Okay. Did you have any questions?
Nope.
Okay, if you'll step to your left, they'll give you your paperwork. Thank you, sir. Will the remaining cases not be coming to the courtroom this morning?
Yes.
With case number 1 and 2, Charles Russell, date of birth August 14th, 2003. This will proceed as a house call after this recording. The first case is a new municipal court case coming out of Goodyear. One count of disorderly conduct, a Class 1 misdemeanor, and one count of criminal damage, a Class 1 misdemeanor. I am appointing counsel in this case and setting an arraignment hearing on January 29th at 8:30 a.m., along with a secured appearance bond of $1,500. Written conditions of release include not returning to the scene of the crime and no contact with any alleged victims or witnesses. Case number 2 for Mr. Russell is a arrest warrant that was issued based on a direct complaint that was filed for an offense date of May 17, 2024 for one count of disorderly conduct, a Class 6 felony. I am appointing counsel and setting a status conference on January 27th at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing on January 30th at 8:30. A secured appearance bond in the amount of $50 is being set. If that is posted, there are written conditions of release. If anything changes after I meet with them, I will update the written record. Case number 7, Dwayne Simons, date of birth March 10th, 1962. We're here on a probation violation warrant. They've alleged he violated terms 3, 4, and 5. I'm appointing counsel in this case and setting a probation revocation hearing on January 28th at 8:30 and affirming the secured appearance bond of $500. There are written conditions of release that does include contacting his probation officer within 72 hours. If anything changes after I meet with him, I will update the written record. Gloria Bird, date of birth 6/14/1959. We are here on a new Superior Court case. It includes one count of narcotic drug possession, a Class 4 felony, one count of dangerous drug possession, a Class 4 felony, and one count of drug paraphernalia possession, a Class 6 felony. Probable cause has been found, and I am appointing counsel in this case. I'm setting a status conference on February 5th at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing on February 7th at 8:30. I am releasing Ms. Bird on her own recognizance, and there are written conditions of release she needs to comply with. If anything changes after I meet with her, I will update the written record. Case number 29, Leticia Burgos, date of birth October 26, 1987. We're here on a new Superior Court case for 1 count of aggravated assault on an officer, a Class 5 felony. Probable cause has been found, and I am appointing counsel to represent her. I'm setting a status conference on January 27th at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing on January 30th at 8:30. I'm setting a secured appearance bond in the amount of $1,000. If bond is posted, there are written conditions of release that need to be complied with. If anything changes after I meet with her, I will update the written record at that time. We will now stand in recess until the 8 a.m. calendar.